read it. Hear me very carefully, and I can assure you that you will make this question absolutely correct. Okay, so now first is a absolute veto. So now what is absolute veto? This is a veto. This is a bill came to president. Veto is that to say no. Okay, in simple manner, it is to say no. So veto power in the absolute veto. If that bill, if the particular bill came to me, okay, from the parliament. Now this bill came to me. I does not like this bill at all. What I'll do, I'll just make this crunch this paper and throw it into the dustbin. This is known as absolute veto. It is absolutely same to same. It simply means that when that particular paper, if I'll put it into the dustbin, I will not go back to this bill now. Now this bill is dead for me. And if this is dead for me, this is dead for parliament as well. Right? So absolute veto is something is that president will not take any action and throw it into a dustbin. That's it. So when he has that power to use that absolute veto, that to no, absolutely no, absolute veto. Okay, in the two conditions only. Remember, this is again a UPSC's favorite question. Which are those two conditions? First, if that bill is passed by private members, that means those are member of parliament, but those are not the ministers. Okay, so there are 545 members into the Lok Sabha. So if and just 80 90s around the people are the ministers. Okay, so leftover the people, if leftover people has passed a bill to president, then he has power to make it the crunch and then throw it into a dustbin. Simple. That was the first condition. In the second condition, if cabinet resigns, remember, cabinet has passed. Suppose there is a cabinet, 5 people, of course we know that there is a number of people at the cabinet, but if this is a cabinet, if cabinet passes a particular, okay, this is a bill again, cabinet passes bill to president, okay, and now this cabinet dissolved. What I should do with this bill? I will again throw this away, because whom this cabinet has passed me that bill, they themselves has dissolved. What should I do with this bill? I'll just throw that into a dustbin. I hope you are understanding what I mean to say is that absolute veto is absolutely saying no and putting that into blindly into a dustbin. Okay, this is known as an absolute veto. Two conditions: if that bill has passed by a private member, those are not ministers into parliament, and another is that if that bill has passed and then cabinet got dissolved. Fine. I hope you understand. I have just made it to you understand to make it clear to you as much as possible from my side. And I can guarantee you, if you understand this carefully, you will never make this question wrong ever. Okay. Now second is pocket veto. Okay, fine. The bill came to me, right? And now I'm not sure whether I should give assent to this bill, or should I return that to you, or because if I return that to you, you will send that to me back, and then I have to sign on this bill. That I don't want to do that. So what I will do that I will take this bill and I'll put it into my pocket. Okay, I'll just keep that into my pocket. So if I keep this bill into my pocket, I don't have to say that how long I have to keep it into pocket, because the constitution has not said within how much time I have to again remove this and to say something and to pass it as an act. I have the special authority. So I'll take this bill and keep it in this pocket infinite time. I'll never go and look after towards this bill. I hope you are understanding it. Third is a suspensive veto. You have already gone through a suspensive veto. It's a simple means if the Council of Minister send that one bill to President, if President want to send that to back to again to just recheck it and to make some changes, now Council of Minister what they will do is that again send that to President. Here President does not have any say and now he have to sign on this bill. It is known as a suspensive veto. I already explained you, state legislature does not have that authority. State legislature, he can send them to back to number of time. I have explained you really well. I hope you understood it. So we have done with the veto power. Please go through them. Those are very, very important. Just remember, money bill, the assent to money bill or withhold is assent to money bill. I already told you that money bill cannot return. He can assent him, or he can withhold the money bill. He cannot return the money bill. I hope you made it clear. This is very important. Again, we learn that with the perspective of amendment. If there is an amendment bill, we learn that there is an ordinary bill, there is a money bill, there is an amendment bill, or there is a n number of different bills is there. If the amendment bill is there, and if this is an amendment bill came to a president, what president have to do is that president have to close his eyes and sign on the bill according to Amendment Act 24th. So 24th Amendment Act says that president have to give sign on the amendment bill. He does not have any veto power in the perspective of ordinance amendment bill. Please remember. Now, going towards the ordinance making power of the president. Again, this is as like a veto power is important. On the same line, ordinance making power of the president is extremely important if we want to rid the president. Okay, so we know that Article 123 talks about ordinance making power of the president. So what is ordinance? Ordinance is, in a simple words, it is again an act. When this ordinance is framed, if, as we already told you that, if this is a Lok Sabha, this is Rajya Sabha, and I myself is in president. This is Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha passed a bill to Rajya Sabha. Now Rajya Sabha also confirmed this bill and sent that to president. Now president got a bill, and now if I assent it, if I'll sign on this bill will become an act. I'll repeat it once again. This is a Lok Sabha, passed a bill. Take an example of Motor Vehicle Act, Motor Vehicle Bill 2019. If it is passed by Lok Sabha, that went to Rajya Sabha. Again, Rajya Sabha said that yes, we are also agree for the safety of the citizens, the road safety of the citizens. Rajya Sabha also passed this bill. Now this bill come to president, and now president has authority. I already told you he can give assent, he may can withhold this, or maybe he can return it. But now consider, if he give assent and then become an act, and now this act is actually working in the society, and then so many people's life is actually saved by this act, because there is a huge fine to the people if they're not wearing helmet and not following the traffic rules and regulations and signals and whatnot. There are so many things there. Okay, so but what if there is a Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are not in the session? This is possible, right? Because there is a 3 sessions in our parliament. There is a winter session, there is a budget session, so many sessions is there. So in between of these 3 months, 3-month session, 3-month session, 4-month session, whatsoever, in between there is 1 month holiday, isn't it? There is a holiday to our parliament. Then what will happen during that 1 month period? If president wanted to make act, what will happen? House is not into the that Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha is not working. Okay, an emergency, we wanted to frame an act, or maybe if there is a possibility is that Lok Sabha has dissolved. Of course, Rajya Sabha is a permanent member, but Lok Sabha has dissolved. Maybe there is no majority into the Lok Sabha, or maybe president, due to the death of the president, there is a Council of Minister dissolution has happened, and that whole Lok Sabha get dissolved, or any n number of circumstances. If there is a no Lok Sabha, only Rajya Sabha is there. But we know that to frame the act, we need to have consent of both the houses. In that situation, president has an extraordinary power to frame the ordinance. Ordinance is to making the law. Remember that. So this is the power that president gets under Article 123. Remember, this ordinance making power is not a parallel power of the executive. Okay, I mean to say that he cannot sidetrack to the executive and frame by themselves this legislation. I'm really sorry. This ordinance making power is not the parallel power like legislature. It simply means if both houses are present, they are capable to frame the laws. This moment, president cannot use the ordinance making power. Please remember that. Okay, if both houses are not present, or maybe one of them houses is not present, then and then only president can use this power. Second thing, Please remember, president cannot make ordinance on or make the laws on the fundamental right. Third thing, president cannot give ordinance or take ordinance on the list which is mentioned into the state list. He can make ordinances only those subject those are listed into a union list, not with the state list. Please remember, these are the three restrictions with the perspective of the ordinance. One more very important thing, UPC has asked the question a number of times, that judicial review is very much possible in the formation of the ordinance. It simply means that if um, president made an ordinance and people has challenged it in the Supreme Court, yes, Supreme Court has authority to look after this ordinance. Okay, uh, you will see that in the further that in some cases the judicial review is not possible, and we also learn about the judicial review. Okay, so under Article Amendment Act 44, under 44th Amendment Act, president has power, judicial review is possible on the ordinance. Third thing, again, and one more restriction is that president cannot make ordinance by himself. He has to get assent from the Council of Ministers. Same like a national emergency, right? We already learned that in the 44th Amendment Act. If president wanted to pass an emergency, he have to get assent, or maybe he has to get a written letter from a Council of Ministers. On the same line, if he wanted to frame an ordinance, he has to get that letter from the Council of Ministers. I hope you are understanding this. Okay, again, now he made an ordinance and everything. After 6 months, the House came, both of the house get rejuvenated and started, or maybe next session of the parliament started. Then this particular ordinance, actually this ordinance kept in front of the house, and now within 6 weeks they have to within 6 weeks they have to take actions to frame this ordinance into an act. If they does not make any change, if they does not consent to this ordinance, then this ordinance lapse. There is no use of that ordinance. Furthermore, this law or act is not actually applicable in the society. Again, remember, there is very important cases. UPSC has asked number of times different cases that we know, that Keshavananda Bharati case, Minerva Mill case, or maybe a number of cases that we learn. So now here, DC Vadhava case in 1987, Supreme Court says that president cannot make ordinance. Those are state legislature. The subject those are into the state legislature. Please remember DC Vadhava case, which has restricted basically the power of president. I hope so you are understanding what I mean to say. Okay, now third very important topic for the pardoning power of the president. Pardon is what? It's simply kshama, to forgive somebody. It is known as a pardon. So president has power to pardon to the culprit or maybe criminals. Okay, so if X person has made, take an example of Nirbhaya case. These 4 people has left, and they had actually made a petition to Supreme Court that please forgive us. We will not make such a heinous crime further in life. So here Supreme Court said that no, we cannot do that, because you whatever heinous act that you have performed, it is against the humanity, and we don't want to reduce your any sentences, and we wanted to continue your execution. Execution is like Fasi. Now a person has a final right or authority. Final god for them is a president. They can go to president and ask them to pardon them, to forgive them. Now it is in the hand of president to use that power. Okay, of course governor do have power, same like a president. There is a slight difference. So there is a different power to president under the pardoning power. It's not just about just to pardon. Kshama kiya, what does it mean? That does not make any sense. So there are 5 power to president under the pardoning power. Remember that Article 72 gives authority or power to president to pardon a culprit or criminals. So now pardon, it's first in the pardoning power. First is the pardon. Pardon is like to remove all the sentences or that punishment which is given to culprit. So that could be execution, that is phansi, or maybe life sentence, or any sort of punishment. Completely nullify, and that person can live a normal life like us. Okay, this is known as a pardon. Usually that does not happen. Okay. Second is in that pardoning power. Second is very important, is the commutation. What is commutation? Remember, number of time UPSC has also asked some match the followings, or maybe what is commutation and like that. So commutation is to make the lighter form of punishment. In simple, lighter form of punishment is like there was very severe punishment, and now president has reduced it to a simple form, little better form. Nobody wanted to get executed. Recently only that Nirbhaya 4 culprit got executed. So if they could have if the president have used the commutation power, the power may form into a lighter form. Example, if that Nirbhaya people, 4 of them got an execution of them, if president can use the commutation pardoning power to to make the lighter form, like execution, lighter form is maybe a life sentences, right? Or maybe life sentence, lighter form is maybe 10 years of the punishment, right? This is lighter form. Third is very important. First we learned pardoning power, completely removing all the punishment. Commutation, it simply means to make it into a lighter form. Third is the remission. Again, this is very important. Remission is that to just reducing the period of their punishment. So like maybe somebody has life imprisonment, and of course for forever life, we just reduce the period. Maybe like before they have sentenced it for 14 years, now they have sentenced it for 5 years. That could be possible. Like some people or some prisoners or some culprits and criminals behaves really well in the jail. So why to just fill them up into and violate the human rights into jail? So under the remission, president can make it reduce their time frame or period. Okay, I hope you are understanding. First is the pardoning power. Second is commutation, where it form into lighter form. Third is the remission, where the period has period has reduced. Third is a respite. Now what is a respite? Basically to reduce the sentence. A simple way, if a disabled person is there, or maybe a lady is pregnant and got a sentence of life imprisonment, then her sentence get actually lessened down. Okay, so maybe she will get a very less punishment or something like that. The last power is the reprieve. Reprieve is something is postpone, that maybe reprieve power when president uses that he feels that maybe Supreme Court decision is okay, but we wanted to go into little depth, and I wanted to really check that out. That person has really made that much of heinous crime, and he really deserve that sort of punishment. So, or maybe sometime it happens that case is not solved, and before that only Supreme Court has announced a sentence for them. Then Supreme Court just make it hold it for a year. We will investigate furthermore, and then maybe will reopen the case again. That could be possible under the reprieve. Okay, these are very, very important. Pardoning power of the parliament. President, that this question also asked number of times. So if you wanted to go through a president chapter, please go through veto powers. We learn that absolute veto. We learn that suspensive veto. We learn that pocket veto and qualifying veto that is not there to our Indian president. Second is that please, if you want to study before the examination, please go through ordinance making power of the president under article 1, 2, 3. We also learn that ordinance making power is not a parallel power of the legislature, and judicial review is very much possible. Okay, and we also learn that under the article Amendment Act 44th, very important. Third, pardoning power of the president under article 72. All are very important. Pardoning, it could be a commutation, reprieve, remission, or respite. All of these are very important. Just remember, this question also asked once. This pardoning power of the president, judicial review is not allowed. Now judiciary has completely sidetracked. Whatever decision you have given, I have a discretion, president has a discretion now to say or give opinion on the judgment. So here, judicial review. Now, judiciary cannot interfere the decision that is given by president in the line of pardoning. And president cannot by himself give the decision. He have to ask to council of minister. Very, very important. Advice of union cabinet, not in council of minister but cabinet. Advice of the cabinet is again must. These are the two lines are very, very important because these are also asked once by UPSC. Okay, so I already told you that there is a number of power to president is available. Okay, just remember, president does not have constitutional discretion, which is there with the governor. Governor has a constitutional discretionary power. President does not have. So president has a situational discretion. Discretion is something is that to discretion is that it simply means in a simple way is that to use by myself. I don't have any command on any authority like from a council of minister or from a cabinet. I don't need to ask them. I don't need to ask the Supreme Court. Under Article 142, I don't need to ask to anybody. Discretion is like everything is in my hand, my opinion. Okay, this is known as a discretion. But the president does not have constitutional discretion, which is there with the governor. We are going to learn it and we have to recall and remember it number of times. But president has situational discretion. Situational discretion is like something. Three situational discretions are there with the president. First, if there is no majority party, if there is no leader of, there is no single party winner, so they have to make a coalition and they have to find out who will become the prime minister. So this is a situational discretion to the president, to form a prime minister. Second is to dismiss the council of minister. This is also his situational discretion. Of course, council of minister get dismissed by getting call from a prime minister. He cannot do it by himself basically, but still really sorry. Second is very important again. Dismissal of the council of minister when it cannot prove it confidence of the Lok Sabha. Every minister, every council of minister has to have confidence of the Lok Sabha. If they does not have confidence in the house, then president asks to president by himself has a discretionary situational discretionary power to remove all of this council of minister. And third is that dissolution of the Lok Sabha. If council of minister lost its majority. So these three are the conditions for which has a situational discretionary power with the president. So we have done with the whole chapter. So I hope you understood what I mean to say. Just go with this chapter n number of time because these are very, very important issues that raise from the president. Go through article, go with the amendment, especially 44th Amendment Act, 24th Amendment Act, Article 123, under Article 142, under Article 352, 356, 365, 360, Article 52, 53, to 78. Go through all of this article, try to revise it number of time, understand what is absolute veto, what is pardoning power, what if money bill comes to president, whether he will send it back or not, ordinary bill, amendment bill, judicial power, executive power of the president. Go through that, and I hope that you are able to understand some bits of this lecture. I just try to explain you as much as possible. In the book, it has a really very complex, procedure or the words. I have made it really very clear to you. I tried my best. I hope you just go read it, hear my lecture a number of time and go through the books, and wish you all the best. Take care.